everybody. My name is Christy Biedron. I'm Director of Education here at Junior Achievement of New Jersey. We're so glad to have all of you joining us today. Just a reminder, we are recording this session. So even though I'm going to have the screen up for most of the time, students, if you do not want to be in the recording, simply turn your cameras off for this portion. Volunteers as well, if you don't want to be in the recording, you can turn your cameras off. However, when we go into the breakouts, I will stop recording and then you are welcome to all turn your cameras on if you'd like. So on behalf of all of us at Junior Achievement, thank you for joining us. We've got a great session planned today, Leading with Innovation. We're going to talk for a little bit and then we're going to go into some breakout rooms. Before we begin, I just want to give a huge shout out and sincere thanks to our program sponsors. Without these organizations, we would not be able to do this fantastic program week after week at no cost to students or schools. So our presenting sponsors, I'd like to thank ADP, the Deloitte Foundation, MetLife, and Sanofi, and our additional sponsors, Church & Dwight, Carney Bank, New Jersey Resources, Merck, CNBC, Wells Fargo, CDW, EY, Fidelity, L'Oreal, Prudential, PSE&G, and Valley Bank. In addition to our sponsors, we have a number of volunteers today from some organizations that work so closely with Junior Achievement throughout the year. And we thank all of you for participating today. So moving right along, students, we have some great things coming up before the end of the calendar year. On December 1st, we have another session all about women in STEM, focusing on growth mindset. So even if you're not interested in a career in STEM, or even if you're not employed in a career in STEM, this is a great session for everybody because, as you know, a growth mindset is essential to achieving success no matter what career path you take. So we're going to talk a little bit about how you can develop a growth mindset that will help you overcome challenges and meet your career goals. On December 8th, we're going to have another executive career panel. We're doing these every month because they are just always so wonderful. We've got some fantastic women leaders who are going to be joining us, sharing their stories, and taking your questions, students. There is not a volunteer piece for the executive career panel. So volunteers, you get the week off, but students, we hope that you will join us for what is always a really exciting and empowering discussion. On December 15th, we have a special financial empowerment session with our partners at CNBC. Their headquarters are located right here in New Jersey. They love to work with New Jersey students. CNBC is a cool organization, so we hope students that you will join us on December 15th for that special financial empowerment session with CNBC. And then our sessions resume in January. So even though the dates and topics are not posted yet on the website, they will be very soon. And for more information, you can go visit our website right there, Students and Volunteers, janjacademy.org, or you can email me at my email address there, jaofnj@gmail.com. Students, this is not just a one and done. We would love for you to continue to build your leadership skills with the Junior Achievement Women's Future Leadership Academy. We have a number of students who have joined today that I know are already doing this. And this is an opportunity for all of you. Even if you can just join a few sessions or do more, your level of involvement really is up to you. But we do have some great things that you can do. Students, you can earn your digital career badge for career readiness. A digital badge is a really great credential that you can add to your resume, your LinkedIn profile, your college application. That is a micro-credential and talks about some of the things that you've learned through your participation in the Academy. All you have to do is attend 5 or more sessions, complete a very simple survey, and submit a final project. Some of you have applied for the digital badge already. We thank you so much. You should be receiving that very soon. And for more information about this and about the other programs that I'm going to tell you about, you can just go right to our Academy website and you'll see them all right there. A couple other opportunities if you really want to build your leadership skills and really get involved with the Academy, you can become a student ambassador. Like I said, a couple of our student ambassadors are joining us right now. Or we have something new. We're putting together a Women's Future Leadership Academy Council. So this is somewhat like an internship with Junior Achievement. It's a more in-depth experience that you'll participate in throughout the school year. It's a really great program. We have opportunities for any student that would like to participate. And again, if you would like to get more information, you can visit our program website. The details are right there. So we hope that you will consider that. Also, if you would consider please sharing information about the Women's Future Leadership Academy to your fellow classmates. We're always looking to build our statewide network of women leaders who always have each other's back and who we can reach out to continue to empower and inspire us. So, and if you've just joined too, please feel free to use the chat feature to say hello, introduce yourself, students and volunteers. You can say your name and your school if you'd like. And then in about a half hour, we're going to get into those breakout sessions where we'll get to all have conversations. So here's our agenda. Again, I'm Christy Biedra. I'm doing our welcome here. We're going to do a little bit of a session about leading with innovation. This is going to be an interactive session. So you'll have opportunities to kind of share your own answers via the chat room or using your microphone if you'd like. Then around 5:30, we're going to move into breakout sessions where you'll be working with a small team on a design thinking project, collaborating together to solve a problem using some innovative techniques. And then at about 6 o'clock, we'll bring it all back for closing remarks. So on that note, let's talk about solving problems. And I'm going to throw this problem out here for everyone to kind of consider. And for this question here, you can use the chat room. And I'll be able to read your answers here in the chat room. So go ahead and use the chat room feature for this. Okay. Everybody can see. Okay, so here's a problem. And maybe you've experienced that. Every time you wash your favorite pair of sweatpants or hoodie, the drawstring magically works its way out of the clothing. You've even tied bigger knots at the end to try to stop it from happening. How do you fix the problem? So there's a question, and I would like to invite any student or volunteer to kind of think of what can you do to solve this problem. And you can go ahead and put your answers right there in the chat room if you'd like. Give everybody another minute to maybe think of some answers here. How could you solve this problem? Every time you wash your favorite pair of sweatpants or hoodie, the drawstring magically works its way out of the clothing. You've even tied bigger knots at the end to try to stop it from happening. How can you fix this problem? All right, I see some great answers here. Tie the ends together before washing. That's good. Get rid of the drawstrings or try putting something else on the end to stop the drawstring from moving. Remove the drawstrings before putting them in the washing machine. Good. You could stitch the holes to make them smaller. Excellent. Excellent. So this is a great example. Aaliyah, that's okay. You're better late than never, right? So this is a great example of kind of thinking outside the box, thinking of all different kinds of ideas to solve a problem and remove them. Very good. And so some of the ideas here are really different. And this is like an example of problems that you might be able to solve by thinking outside the box and thinking creatively. So let's go into a little bit more detail about what that means. Leading with innovation. So today's session is all about innovation. You've probably heard this term used a lot with the advancement of technology. Leading with innovation, innovation and being innovative is a really important skill for leaders to have. So innovation is critical to every company, whether it's new products or services, more efficient manufacturing processes, or new marketing and sales channels. Innovation lays the groundwork for continued growth by introducing new solutions for customers and prospects. It creates excitement for employees, and it boosts their job satisfaction and morale. Innovation does not require some exotic new technology. It requires an innovative culture, one that is embraced by the people at the top and flows through the whole organization. I'll throw this out there to our volunteers. And again, you can use the chat room if you'd like. A lot of companies are being innovative. So if you work for a company and you've used innovation in your company, if you've seen some innovative things come up, you can go ahead and post that in the chat room. We'd love to kind of hear some examples of how companies are being innovative. Here's another example. So COVID-19 has really caused a lot of industries to become innovative. It's kind of forced change. It's forced innovation because companies have needed to adapt and meet customers' needs. So some industries that have really made to become more innovative, especially in the last year or so, especially science. Of course, our science and our healthcare have gone above and beyond to be innovative, to think of new things to meet all the challenges that we're facing. Education has really become innovative because we've all had to learn to go to school online. Our teachers had to relearn things, students had to relearn things. We've all had to become innovative to come up with solutions to taking classes from home and working remotely. Technology obviously has become more innovative, and so has retail. So many of us now are buying things online that we never did before. So buying things online is a whole new process. Instead of going to the store, shopping around, buying things online requires a lot. It's a whole different process. And it's really changed the face of retail and marketing. So these are some examples of how COVID-19, the disruption caused by the pandemic, has really led companies to become innovative, to adapt and meet their customers' needs. This is why it's really important for all of you students to be able to become innovative thinkers, because this is going to continue. Companies are going to continue to adapt to meet their customers' needs, their employers' needs. And they're looking for people who are innovative. So if you have that skill and if you have this practice, like we're going to be doing today, it'll make you more marketable to employers and it will make you more successful in your career. So I know Roxanne had talked a little bit about financial services and innovation. Sometimes we don't think about innovation in the banking industry, but really the banking industry, I think, has been the most changed, the most disrupted. And I say that in a good way, disrupted by technology. Really because of the Fintech industry. So if you've ever heard of Fintech, it's an industry designed to help integrate technology into financial services. So consider way back in the day, we all went to the bank, to the teller to deposit our checks. And right now we don't have to do that anymore. We can do all of our banking on our phone. So that's one example of how Fintech is really been revolutionizing the banking industry. Things like security, making sure that our identities are safe, making sure that our accounts are safe, that that we're not subject to credit card fraud. That's another thing that banks are really having to become more innovative to meet those needs. So there's more demand than ever for innovation in financial services, and technologies in the banking industry will continue to evolve so they can better serve their customers. And I know we have a number of volunteers here from the banking industry. So before we go into the breakout sessions, I would love to invite any of you to kind of share some of the ways that your organizations are being innovative. And we'll kind of open up, we'll have an open forum right before we go into those breakouts. So a little bit more about women innovators. So a lot of times, we think about people who are innovative. We think of Thomas Edison, or we think of all these, Einstein, think of all these big innovators. But really, there have been a lot of women that have taken challenges or problems that they've seen or opportunities that they've seen and thought of innovative solutions to meet those challenges and problems. For example, Canva. Canva is a visual communications platform. I use it all the time for documents. It's a great way to put together documents, marketing documents. I even made my business card using Canva. And it was co-founded by a woman, Melanie Perkins, from a Sydney-based visual communications platform. Many of you might be familiar with Canva. Many of you have probably heard of 23andMe. It's a great company that allows people to research and test for ancestry and also for health risks. So Anne Wojcicki is a co-founder and CEO of 23andMe. So these are just a few of many examples of women who have really found opportunities, saw challenges, and become innovative to come up with very successful solutions. So now let's talk about innovation and an entrepreneurial mindset. So an entrepreneurial mindset is really applicable not just to people who want to start a business as entrepreneurs, but it's really applicable to anyone who wants to think creatively. And companies look for people with that entrepreneurial mindset, because again, this helps you identify challenges, identify problems, and come up with solutions. Companies know, and volunteers, I welcome you to kind of post your thoughts in the chat room. You can't continue to do the things the same way all the time. A lot of times in companies, we'll be doing something and then all of a sudden it doesn't work anymore. You can't just continue to do the same thing all the time. You have to think about new ways to advance your company or organization. So even if you're working with a big company and you're not an entrepreneur, so to speak, having an entrepreneurial mindset is a really important and valuable skill. So you'll see here that there are some characteristics to people with an entrepreneurial mindset. So I'd like to invite the students again to use that chat room. If you'd like to, if you see any of these qualities here that you think you are good at, that you think align to you. So some qualities of someone with an entrepreneurial mindset is one, having a positive attitude. It helps when you need to persevere in difficult times and identify new opportunities that others overlook. So if you feel like you have a positive mindset, a positive attitude, students, go ahead and say yes right there in that chat room. We love to hear from you. I don't think there is a call-in number. I'm so sorry. I'll see if I can find it. Creativity, very good. So creativity is also important. If you use imagination to solve problems, if you're able to do that, those of you who are creative, go ahead and post that in the chat room. Go ahead and do a little self-bragging here. It's always good. Excellent. Relationships. Are you one of those people that are great with relationships, connecting with people, listening to people, and learning from people? That's really important if you're developing an entrepreneurial mindset. So if that is you, go ahead and put that in the chat room too. And then finally, organizational skills. Organizational skills, if you're good at day-to-day planning, if you're good at finances, if you're good at record keeping, you can go ahead and put that in the chat room too, if that is one of you. All right, yes to organization. I'm so jealous of you people that are organized. You are very lucky. That is a very good skill to have. Excellent. Thank you so much, students, for your feedback. So let's talk a little bit now about design thinking. So if you've ever heard about design thinking, go ahead and post yes in that chat room if you'd like. Design thinking is really, really cool. If you joined the Women's Futures Leadership Academy last year, we did a special session on this because it's something that, interestingly enough, is used in companies all over the world, and it is taught in business schools. So if you are in a business program like Harvard, MIT, UCLA, or a really good school, Rutgers University, they have a section on design thinking in their schools of business. So design thinking started out as just a simple process for creating sleek new technology and products, but this methodology is now widely used across both the private and public sectors for business and personal projects all around the world. It's a really big thing. Here's some of the major companies that use design thinking. Maybe some of our volunteers, maybe you recognize this, maybe you've seen this at your work, and if so, please feel free to put that in the chat room. All major successful companies like Apple, Microsoft, Google, GE, IBM, Accenture, Airbnb, they use design thinking to innovate and make decisions. So it's a great thing to learn, and we're going to learn it here together. So this is what it looks like. It is a method for creative problem solving, and it really is taking steps. It's all about taking these steps and putting the end user kind of in the forefront. So the first step is empathize. When you learn about the audience for whom you are designing. So do a little research. Who is this product for? Who are we serving? Who is our end user? Who are we thinking about? And learn about their needs. What do they need? What's their background? How are they feeling? What is their concern? What's their challenge? Then the next step is define. When you construct a point of view that is based on user needs and insights. So defining the problem is really key. A lot of times we go into trying to solve a problem and we don't really define the problem. We really have to take a closer look at the root of the problem. So for example, if I'm sitting in my room and I'm saying it's cold in here, I can say, all right, I'm cold. That's the problem. I'm cold. I'm going to put on a sweatshirt. I'm fine now. But however, I put on my sweatshirt and then the next day I come back into the room and it's still cold. So I really haven't solved the problem. The problem isn't I'm cold. The problem is the heater's broken. So until I fix the heater, which is really the problem, I'm not going to be able to solve it. So that's where we really have to take a closer look and make sure we're not just looking at symptoms of the problem, but the actual problem itself. And sometimes you have to take a couple steps back. The next step is ideate. And this is where it gets really fun. This is where we brainstorm and think of creative solutions. And when you ideate or brainstorm, there's no wrong answer. You can think of any possible solution. Even if it seems ridiculous, you don't know until you put it out there, especially if you're working in a team with a bunch of different people with diverse ideas and diverse viewpoints. When you bring those diverse viewpoints and ideas together, that's when you really come up with good solutions. And that's why a lot of companies are really focusing more on diversity in their employee base, because they know that is what drives innovation and that is what drives success. So ideate, brainstorm, think of all different ideas, even if they sound silly. It's always good to put it out there. The next step in design thinking is prototype. This is when you build a representation of one or more of your ideas to show to others. So a prototype can be something you build, or it could be a design that you make, or it could be a plan that you put out, a strategic plan, or anything like that. But that's when you kind of figure out, okay, this is what we want to do. Now, what is it going to look like? And then the last step is test. You return to your original user group and testing your ideas for feedback. So again, those are the steps of design thinking. In a moment, we are going to do a small group discussion where we'll kind of go through those steps, but we'll probably only get to the first 3 or maybe 4. And that's okay. Obviously, we're not going to test anything because we only have 30 minutes. But these are the steps that we're going to take. And I'll go back to this slide later to remind everybody what that looks like. Okay, so this is going to be our innovation challenge. But before I read this, I really want to put it out there to our volunteers. So our volunteers, if you would like to, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a minute so we can all see each other. And I'm going to put my video on now. So I'd like to throw it out to our volunteers. If any of our volunteers would like to share, maybe you've had an experience in your company that has led to innovation. Maybe your company is doing something really innovative. Maybe you and your team has done something innovative, or maybe there's a problem that you're trying to solve. So I'll throw it out there to our volunteers. If you'd like, go ahead and you can put the little hand thing up if you'd like, so we can kind of organize a little bit. But if you'd like to share something, go ahead and put the little hand thing up. I think it's reactions there, or you can just turn your microphone on and start sharing if that's easier.
Hi, my name is Mark Gianchetti from Santander.
Welcome.
Hi, and one of the things that we've actually just instituted, and it's not only to protect the bank, but also to protect the consumers or the businesses themselves, is we do an extra layer now of authentication when we're doing anything with anybody, whether that's opening an account, doing a transaction, it's a teller line, using an experience software that you're sort of trying to either ping their cell phone or have them ask them some type of personalized type of questions or account balance, transaction history type of things, because of all the fraud, as you mentioned earlier on the call. There's a lot of fraudulent activity going on. So it's just another way to try to at least make sure, hopefully, that the person you're dealing with is the person that they're supposed to be.
Excellent. Thank you, Mark, for sharing that. We appreciate it. Any other volunteers like to share something that you are doing in your company that is innovative? Okay, let's see. Oh, David, I see your hand up. Go ahead, David.
Great, thanks so much, Christy. So I'll share a design thinking example specifically. When I worked at a medicine insurance company a number of years ago, we were hearing a lot of complaints from retail pharmacies that we were not reimbursing them necessarily at the right amount. And we certainly didn't want to be in a situation where we had the wrong reimbursements, where we were underpaying them accordingly. So we had a process in place at that point where they can call the company and issue a complaint. Obviously, calling, as we all know, is not always the easiest, most efficient way to deal with something, especially when it's pretty factual information. And they say, can you make an online process that we can use to do that? So that was the voice of the customer that was defining the problem and really thinking through what it was that we needed to do, but certainly empathizing with them up front. And then based on the ideation, we came up with a site, an internet site that was as easy to use as Amazon, with a confirmation number where they would simply submit the basics, the date of the medicine purchase, the price that they had paid, the price that we reimbursed them at, the difference, where they felt that we need to increase our reimbursement rate, and any evidence that they had in terms of how much they bought it at. And we prototyped it with them at a trade show. We got a lot of great feedback from them. There were a couple of things that we tweaked and refined, but ultimately that's a site that we rolled out literally about 6 months after we got a lot of these concerns being shared with us. And the reaction in the market was tremendous. They were like, wow, this is like amazing. This has really revolutionized so much of our operations, so much of our life, and you've made it so easy for us. So we really did walk through each of the processes in the design thinking, and not that the site itself was so unbelievably innovative, but really did get so much take in the marketplace as a result.
Excellent, David. Thank you so much for sharing that. Do any of our, okay, Liz. Hi, Liz from L'Oreal.
Hi, I'm from L'Oreal. So I just wanted to talk about some creative thinking that led to some innovation within our team. So I work at a plant where we produce a lot of Kiehl's products, and I'm in the quality department. And within the quality department, we have the analytical lab where we test the products to make sure that they're safe for the consumers. And we were having some challenges with throughput because we produce a lot and our testing wasn't keeping up with all of that. So basically, we just got our teams together to look at the problem and to sort of brainstorm around different solutions. And in the end, we didn't create an innovative solution, but we were able to capture existing innovation that was already on the market. So we benchmarked and we implemented a cobot, a robot in our lab that would help with the sample preparation. So that was pretty cool. How we were able to bring the teams together and benchmark existing innovations and to implement that in our team. And we gave a really cool name to our cobot robot too. So it's now a part of our team.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Liz, for sharing that. And it's always amazing when I find out, when you and your volunteers join us and I get to find out, the makeup that I buy at the store, the process that it goes through before it gets onto my sink. So I really, really appreciate everything you have to share. It's great. Any more volunteers like to share maybe something innovative that you are doing with your organization? Al, go ahead.
Okay, so years ago, we were having our tellers, it was taking way too long to prove. And they came to me and I worked with my regional administrator at the time. It was a small organization and we were getting out way too late. So we worked with our computer company and we came up with a system where basically all we had to do was count cash at the end of the night. As long as that was in proof, everything was done. The tellers used to have to add up everything, all their DDA deposits, their savings deposits, everything. And it took about a half an hour or 40 minutes to prove. This literally took, maybe 5-10 minutes for them to count their drawer. So it really put a lot of time back in their day. So it's going back a bit, but I thought at the time that was pretty cool.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. So as you see, we've had some great volunteers who are joining us today. They all have experience in their companies being innovative, and it really is an important thing. So I'm going to continue to share my screen here. We'll go back to the screen. Hopefully everybody can see it. Okay. Can you see my screen again? Can you see my little PowerPoint? Al, if you can speak, give me a thumbs up. Okay, thank you. All right. So here are the steps for design thinking. Empathize, when we think about our customers, our end user. 2, we define the problem, find out, okay, what exactly is the problem here? 3, we ideate, we come up with all kinds of different solutions, brainstorming, no answer is wrong. And then prototype, we decide a good solution. We pick one that's going to be really good, that we think is the best one, and we prototype it. So those, and then finally test. So that's the process that we're going to be using in just a moment when we do our breakouts and we have conversations. Again, it's not you don't have to follow this exact step, but it's certainly a way to kind of organize your thoughts, organize how you're going to come up with a solution with your team. So here is our small group innovation challenge. So there are 2 prompts here that your team can choose from. So in a moment, I'm going to put everyone in breakout sessions. You'll probably have about 5 or 6 people in your session, I think. Yeah, about 6 people in your session. And as a group, you can choose one of these 2 challenges. Both are equally fun, both are equally interesting, I think. Both have an opportunity for all different kinds of innovative solutions. So challenge number 1, and volunteers, if you'd like, it might be helpful for you to either jot this down really quick, if you'd like to refer to it later, or even if you're like me, if you want to take a picture with it with your phone. I always do that when I'm in presentation. So volunteers, if you want, it might be helpful to just jot this down really quick. I'll give everybody a moment. But now the first choice for a challenge, number 1, Junior Achievement would like to increase student participation in the Women's Future Leadership Academy, but the 5 o'clock time doesn't work for everyone. So that's challenge number 1. So again, you're going to look at your end user, define the problem, come up with solutions, pick the best one. And then number 2, the hallways in your school are very crowded between classes, and many students don't have enough time to go to their lockers and get to class in time. So those are the 2 different challenges. You can choose one, and as a group, think of how you might be innovative and solve the problem. So these are the steps you're going to take with your group: define the problem, ask questions, brainstorm ideas, and together choose the best solution. You can use those steps in design thinking. Volunteers, make sure that all the voices are heard and that everyone participates in the discussion. Students, this is an opportunity to kind of get out of your comfort zone a little bit. Turn your microphone off. Turn your microphone on, turn your camera on, and participate in the discussion. It's a really safe place for you to practice doing that. And then after that, right about maybe 10 minutes to 6, we'll all come back to the main room, and every group is going to share their idea. So we're going to have 4 groups. We want to have 4 ideas by 10 minutes to 6. Okay. So did everybody get a chance to look at these 2 questions? We're going to take a very quick break. I'm going to put everyone in the breakout rooms. I'm going to leave this screen on so you can think about this a little bit. So take a moment and read this, make sure that you have this down, and I'm going to start the breakout sessions in just a minute. I think we are ready to start the breakout sessions. Simply follow the prompt on your screen that will bring you to your group. Volunteers, go ahead and have someone begin with introductions. Have all of the students and volunteers in your group introduce themselves, and then you can go ahead into your discussion. And we'll see you back here at about 10 minutes to 6.